welcome to the Clash of the Reds podcast. I'm your host, resident Gunnar Daniel. As in Arsenal fans, are top of the league. I'm here with the two Liverpool boys, Tamim and Zahid. How are you guys both doing?
All good, thank you, bro. All good. Another win. A bit of a messy one, but I'll take it. So I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean, we're slowly climbing up the league, so that's good to see. I mean, there's lots we'll get into this week, and it's been another eventful week in the Premier League. So, let's get to it.
Yeah, man. So before I get accused of trying to take over the world again, I've had a migraine that's absolutely cooked me since Saturday night. Maybe the stress of watching Arsenal, but yeah, it's just carried on even after we won. So even today, so that's why I'm sitting in a slightly dimmed room today, and hopefully I can get through this podcast by reminiscing of our fantastic play. So this performance, so it was Arsenal 1, Everton 0, or Everton 0, Arsenal 1. I personally was very, very happy with how Arsenal played. From the point of view that structurally wise, we looked like Arsenal again. I mentioned in my short, in the last few matches, against Wolves, against FC Bruges, Villa, Chelsea, our structure was just completely off. We were giving away too many chances in those games before. And I think that when it came to the Everton game, that wasn't the case. Like, our distances were right. We were kind of traveling together in pairs in terms of the likes of Rice and Zubimendi, keeping their distances together. We looked more assured, especially after the first 15 minutes, where, naturally you'd think Everton are going to be excited. They had a light show, 8 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday night. A bit of an early storm, and then Arsenal definitely kind of got back into that match. Before Gyökeres gave away his penalty, I think we should have had a penalty just before that. Maybe you guys can have your thoughts on. So there was a cross into the box, and Gyökeres was pushed off the ball, and it was basically going into the net. In my opinion, that was a penalty. Like, Zahid, what were your thoughts on that?
I didn't really see that part of the game, so I can't really comment on that. But I do have a question about the penalty that was given. I mean, specifically, I don't know how O'Brien did not get booked, at least. He had two hands up in the air, definitely an unnatural position, stopped the ball, and it was given as a penalty, but he wasn't even booked. It's just insane.
Yeah, and I think it was insane, the fact that the ref didn't spot it. But also, like, what was weird was, like, the people in the penalty box didn't really react either. The only person who reacted was Calafiori, and he said penalty, and then quickly sprinted back to try and stop the counter. So it was really, really strange and bizarre. And the reason why I asked you about the Gyökeres push, Zahid, was because I did think of the Ekitike push in the Spurs game. But we'll come to that. So I did think maybe, again, the fact that our match was after your game, like pretty much directly, maybe that there might have been an element of, like, well, a push was allowed in the last game, so we'll allow this in this match here. That did occur to me. I was slightly pleased that Gyökeres buried that penalty. Not slightly pleased. I was thrilled that he buried that penalty with such aplomb as well. I think there's been some thoughts that maybe it was a pity penalty, a bit similar to what Arsenal gave Kai Havertz a couple of seasons ago at Bournemouth. But I don't think that's the case at all. I think Arteta in pre-season did mention that he thinks Gyökeres is the best penalty taker in the Arsenal squad. And
Who's your usual penalty taker?
Saka. So when Saka's normally on the pitch, it's Saka. Gyökeres took our other penalty when he was on the pitch against Leeds. But he hits it like Harry Kane.
Yeah. He absolutely. That was a bullet penalty. I wonder if it's a bit daunting for strikers when you're up against Everton's keeper. Because he's got the bottle with all the. Have you seen the picture? He's got the percentages in each part of the. So he's got your number. But I guess if you just hit it hard enough, you'll probably score.
It's interesting as well, like the psychology of a penalty, because Saka and Pickford being England penalty teammates, maybe that there was an element of that as well as to why Ødegaard was like, nope. Gyökeres is taking this pen because maybe Saka knows Pickford might know Saka too well based on England. So time here coming with a stat over the last 12 months, Gyökeres has the highest penalty conversion rate in Europe, as well as Lewandowski and Kane. So yeah, I guess it just kind of shows you with regards to his penalty technique. So after we scored the penalty, Everton really faded away. There was definitely a bit of a constrictor-like performance from Arsenal. I think my frustration, if there was any frustration, it had come during this period. Everton were just pretty much dead and buried, and I felt like we needed to kind of get that second goal to just put to bed this match. But we just kind of did that 300,000 passes Pep Guardiola thing, without actually kind of putting them to the sword. Saliba put in Gyökeres once. It was quite clunky from Gyökeres. I know Zubimendi had a shot before the penalty outside the box, but there was nothing attacking-wise going forward. And obviously, when there's only a 1-goal lead, anything can happen, especially away from home.
And something should have happened.
Okay, let's talk about that. So just before the Tieno Barry penalty incident, Arsenal were playing some really, really nice stuff. We were playing out from the back time after time after time. Raya, with his foot in the ball, was kind of playing that sweeper keeper role. Was just not going long at all, and that was by instruction from Arteta. Now what happened was Saliba misplaced the pass, and Everton broke on us. And then obviously the ball came into the box, and there was a second bounce. Saliba kind of swipes and kicks Barry's kind of calf. Now my immediate gut reaction was penalty. I was like, this will be given. Like, this is the penalty. Like for me, if that happens any other place on the pitch, it's a penalty kick. Of course, I was a very relieved man when they didn't give it. But I was talking to Spark offline about this actually, and he said, "Well, there's a precedent for things like this." And he referenced 2 seasons ago when Arsenal lost to Aston Villa, when we had 9 points. I think it was Matty Cash kicking Gabriel Jesus with a lot more velocity and a lot more force than what Tieno Barry kicked Saliba. And I was like, actually, that's a very, very good point. So the fact that PGMOL kind of have a precedent for not giving these sorts of penalty kicks is quite interesting. I mean, we've had it against us. If I think back to Anthony Taylor last season at Brighton, where it was a clash of heads and a penalty was given, I honestly thought as soon as they had the VAR screen come up, I was like, all right, that's it. It's going to be 1-1. Like, we're going to have to get back into this match. And that kind of, the fact that it wasn't given, I think that kind of killed any momentum Everton had going forward.
So I would say that there's no guarantee that Everton would have scored if that had been given as a penalty. But that is a stonewall penalty, man. It doesn't matter about precedent and what's happened to Arsenal in previous seasons, blah, blah, blah. You kick out a player after he's already made contact with the ball. Anywhere else on the pitch, that's a free kick. And by the law of the game, if that's a free kick anywhere else on the pitch, it's a penalty in the box. So it should have been a penalty. It wasn't given. So, PGMOL aren't out against Arsenal. The agenda is not real. We can move on from that now. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't think much else happened in that game. I mean, I expected in seasons gone by, I would have potentially hoped for it to be a bit of a banana skin for Arsenal. But yeah, I mean, I think you were defensively sound, and Everton didn't really create much in terms of opportunities. I think the best player was Tarkovsky was their best player so their centre back was their best player.
Yeah, they generated 0.21 xg to our 2.0 or 2.19 xg. I felt like when Trossard in particular was through on goal, a player of his quality and his form should be bearing that. Like he hits the post. Again, the game's still in the balance at that point. Before that as well, I think Saka threw on goal. And instead of just kind of lifting the ball, he kind of shoots straight at it, and it gives the Everton defender a chance to clear off the line. So that was the second. And then the third, of course, was the Zubimendi hitting the post as well. So we had plenty of chances to put the game away. And it was really relatively low stress. I mean, of course, the thing that anything could happen, of course, always exists. But what I think we did well in this game compared to Wolves was we learned from our mistake. We didn't just let Everton come onto us. We played the ball in their half. So that is what I was kind of most happy about. And again, we looked like Arsenal again, like the Arsenal from this season that had won 1-0 at Fulham, had won 1-0 at home against Crystal Palace when they were in really, really hot form. Defensively sound, really resolute. So that gave me a lot more confidence. And my overall feeling was like this week off, because we had a week between the two games, had done Arsenal a lot of good in terms of getting back to the defensive habits that Arteta referenced after the Wolves game. So yeah, that kind of sums up my thoughts for the Arsenal-Everton match. I do want to talk about something Arsenal-related. A couple of things, actually. So two things which I think don't shine the club in particularly good light. So the first thing was reported in Athletic today. There was some poverty chanting from the Arsenal fans towards the Everton fans. I think it was like a rendition of "Feed the Scousers," kind of to the tune of of "Feed the World," the Christmas Aid song. So that I think is just really, really distasteful. And Everton immediately put up the fact that they have a food bank on the big screens, which really good for them. I think from our perspective, from an Arsenal fans' perspective, we have our own food banks in Islington that the club actively encourages people to donate to, right outside Emirates Stadium. So it's just really, really distasteful, I think, from the Arsenal fans. And I think the minority of fans, of course, there's always a minority. The minority of fans who did do that, should do better. The other thing which I do want to speak about, and it's bothered me as well, and I think at the beginning of the season, myself and Tam spoke about it, in terms of Arsenal kind of striking up a deal with, funny enough, the name of the company is called Deal, an Israeli-American company, who ironically is also replacing another controversial shirt sponsor in Visit Rwanda. So there was some backlash with regards to Arsenal having Visit Rwanda as a shirt sponsor because of Rwanda's human rights record. So I just think it kind of misses the point to then go and get an Israeli American company who also have their marks of human rights, the fact it's in occupied Palestinian territories, to then have that deal as well. I just think, again, the club themselves need to do better in terms of thinking about what and who they want to be partnering up with. And I don't want to spend too long on that. That's just my feelings on this particular issue.
Yeah, really sad.
Like
you said, like you said, it's really sad. It must be like really disappointing to see that as a fan. But then on the other side as well, like, you know, you're an Arsenal fan because you fell in love with the football, you know, with what you saw, childhood memories, like with Henry, the Invincibles teams, you know, where you grew up in. It's, you know, those things aren't under your control. And as disappointed as you are, you know, it's hard to do much as a fan, isn't it? I mean, you have a loud voice. Fans always have a loud voice, but what you know, the rich do is what the rich do. It's a different world, isn't it? And even in regards to the fans chanting about Everton, again, it's a loud minority, as you said, right? The loud minority always takes headlines, but I think majority of fans, whatever club you support, they're usually in the good. So that's my take on those two things.
Again, like when I went to the Villa match 2 weeks ago, the Arsenal fans were absolutely immaculate. They were amazing. They're chanting from minute 1 to minute 90. You know, no kind of distasteful behaviour then as well. But yeah, just totally agree with your sentiments, Tamim, 100%.
Yeah,
okay,
it's hard, right, to see. You want your club to be successful. You want your club to be prosperous. You want your club to be able to sign players and, you know, be successful and compete financially with the other clubs. But then you're not in control of necessarily where that money comes from. But all you can do as a fan is call it out. And if there's, at the end of the day, the club is there for the fans. So if there's a loud enough voice, then maybe that'll be heard. But yeah.
So when Arsenal sacked their former kitman, who tweeted in solidarity with Palestine, and it was proven by the club that it wasn't anti-Semitic in nature. I did write to the Arsenal Supporters Trust to try and kind of get their kind of takes on it as well. And yeah, I think the club had a Visit Israel sponsorship from about 20 years ago in 2006, and again there was a lot of backlash from fans then, and ultimately that sponsorship was dropped. So again, the fans do have a voice in matters like this. So let's see. Okay, moving forward. So Liverpool beating Spurs, which I was very happy about. Despite the hate from the Scousers with our game against Everton. Tell me your thoughts on Spurs 1, Liverpool 2.
Do you go first?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, there was a lot that happened in that match. I thought that I think both teams started off the game not wanting to concede. I think we wanted to start the game solid. Obviously, Liverpool have had issues with conceding early in games this season, especially in recent times. So I think the aim really was to try and stay solid, not concede, and then later on make substitutions or tactical changes to then go on to try and win the game. But I mean, Everton really helped us out with Xavi Simons' red card. I think it was completely justified. It was early on in the game.
So Spurs, you mean?
You said Everton. Yeah, Spurs red card. I mean, it was completely justified. It was early on in the game, but I mean, he wasn't looking at the ball. He wasn't even looking at where he was going, really. He just stuck his foot out. Unfortunately for him, he ended up taking out Van Dijk's calf in the process. And I don't think they could really complain It ruined the occasion, okay, because obviously Spurs were down to 10 men, and it was kind of expected for Liverpool to go on and win the game from that position. But I mean, that was just the beginning of the drama in the match, really. Because obviously after that, I think Isak scored the first goal, right? So we then go 1-0 up. The follow through of that goal is then Van de Ven completely taking him out. Honestly, I was happy he scored, and then I was just like, don't tell me he's injured already. Like, he's literally just scored and he's on the floor. Like, what is going on? But then when you watch the slow-mo of the follow through, you're not sure if it's his ACL, like, because his knee looks out of place, his ankle looks out of place. You can't really tell what's going on. It looked horrible. And obviously it's come out now that he's had surgery and he's got a lower leg fracture, and he's going to be out for at least several weeks, if not a couple of months. So unfortunately for him, that's pretty much most of his season done.
I think just on that, interestingly, so Terry Flowers posted, like, it seems like these sorts of challenges from defenders always goes unpunished. Yeah, if an attacker kind of just breathes on any sort of defender or any sort, it's always pulled up on immediately. And yeah, like, it was dangerous. It was like it was a scissor motion that got Isak, and like, you don't want to see the best players ever get injured in that, especially in that sort of way. Like, it's really, really horrible. And just when you kind of think Liverpool is kind of getting up to speed, this sort of thing happens. So you do feel for him. But yeah, sorry, I continue.
Yeah, no. And then another notable moment in the game was obviously Kirkes was starting on the left side of the defense, and he made a last-ditch challenge. Kolo Muani was basically on goal, took the shot. It took a deflection off Kirkes, and then I think it came off the crossbar. So I mean, if it wasn't for that, then there was potential that Muani would have scored. So I wanted to give credit to Kirkes, because obviously he's not gotten a lot of credit so far this season. Maybe he's starting to come up to speed potentially. But yeah, I mean, I thought that the whole fact of us like sitting deep and whatnot, obviously then once the red card had happened, then we had to then go on and try and win the game. But yeah, and then obviously Ekitike scores a second goal. There's a debate about the push on Romero. I think I was also Frimpong. Frimpong was there on the right. It was good to see him playing. He put the cross in. I think the cross took a deflection as well, which changed the trajectory of the cross. And I think it was just positional where Romero was and where Ekitike was, that they both had to check their positions to try and get head on the ball. And I don't think well, maybe I'm biased, but I don't think it was strong enough of a push. And considering what happened to Romero later on in the game, I'm happy we got the goal. I mean, I'm super happy for Ekitike. Like, he's gone and scored another goal in another game week. He's coming up clutch for us when we need him. And losing Isak is horrible, but I'm glad we've got an informed Ekitike who can score those goals for us if need be.
Can I make a point on that? So I did think he gained an unfair sporting advantage by pushing Romero. Like, for me, it should have been ruled out. Just like with the Gyökeres push, like, if he's not pushed in the back as he was, it's a guaranteed goal. So again, the Everton then have got an unfair sporting advantage. In this instance, I felt Ekitike got an unfair sporting advantage by pushing Romero in the back. As much as we all like to push Romero in the back, yeah.
I mean, did you see the picture that Ekitike posted on Instagram?
No. What did you post?
It was literally a still of Romero looking like he got shot in the back while Ekitike is going there for the header. It's perfect. Honestly, I loved it. And then if we then fast forward to then obviously Tottenham scoring, that was just absolutely horrendous defending on Liverpool's part. Like, everyone who was there trying to avoid that ball from going into the net was just flapping. especially Van Dijk. I mean, it was because of his final flap that Richarlison then had the chance. And of all people, it had to fall to Richarlison. I'm surprised he didn't take his shirt off. But yeah, he as soon as he scored, he was like, I think Ekitike was on the floor or something, and he was like pushing him. He squared up to Szoboszlai as well afterwards. It was just so unnecessary.
It's just typical Richarlison, right?
Honestly. And I mean, yeah, it's I guess obviously because of his ties to Everton and whatnot, and he's just an idiot. I think.
Yeah, there was that, and he loves to bait people. There's a bit of kind of Diego Costa about him. Like I remember when we beat Spurs a couple of seasons ago, you know, he poked Ramsdale in the eye or did something really stupid, and just never ever seemed to get punished for it, which is quite infuriating actually.
He gets punished for taking his shirt off, but
just silliness.
It always causes havoc, doesn't he? And he does have that hatred for Liverpool. It was the same thing last year, like when he came on. I think it was when we were cruising. Like, I don't know, was it 4-1, 5-1 or something? And he came on, and the game totally changed. And he got a goal. They started coming back in the game.
This was 1-5-3, I think.
Yeah, it was a season. It was a season. It was hilarious, right? Because it was a season that we bottled the league. But you guys were losing against them, and you'd come back, and Romero like did his pigeon celebration to make it 2-2, and then in the space of like 6-7 minutes, you managed to like absolutely like put them down to the sword. And I was just like, thank God for that, man. Like again, I was so thrilled because obviously I just had Spurs fans just messaging me the entire week after we got the league. So like the fact that happened, I was like, shame on you guys, man. Shame on you guys.
So I mean, and then going on to talk about Romero's second yellow card, like how can you as captain not keep your if you compare, like it's such a dichotomy. Like you see Romero and the kind of manager, the kind of captain he is compared to Van Dijk and the kind of captain he is. And it's just like, I don't know, maybe it's a South American thing, but he was just rattled the whole game. He just could not handle it. And then in front of the ref, he kicks out at Konate. Like, and I don't know if he just didn't realize that the ref was looking directly at him, because he just looks at Konate and then just kicks out. And then he almost turns and realizes the ref is right in front of him. And then to have the balls to try and defend yourself in front of the ref to say no, like I shouldn't get a second yellow. It was just. And then Thomas Frank came out and said that if the referee had managed the game properly, Romero would have gotten sent off. It's like how like
you don't kick out. You don't kick out.
Honestly, it's so.
He could have got a straight red for it. It was idiotic and
it's stupid. It's stupid.
Like this is why like I just laugh at Tottenham fans and their the insistence to kind of put Romero and Van de Ven in the same bracket as the best centre halves in the league, and it's just like, come on, boys, like come on, like this was a defense that finished 17th last season, like get over yourself. And Romero does this all the time. He's so rash. He loses his head often. Yeah, and what was frustrating about that from, I guess, the Tottenham point of view was that you looked really, really vulnerable at that moment. You know, it was 2-1, and you were on the ropes. Like Tottenham had like 4 or 5 shots, even with 10 men. And as soon as he got sent off, it kind of killed the game for them. So it's just really, really idiotic from him. Just what they get for being Spursy, I suppose. But was happy with that outcome. Like I said last week, like whatever happens in that game, I'll find it entertaining and amusing. So
I mean, another thing that I thought was very entertaining was that even after the game, Frimpong was asking Van Dijk and Konate why he got subbed off. Like, he still couldn't figure out why he got taken off the pitch.
Yeah, I felt bad.
Hilarious. But I just wanted to quickly screen share I just wanted to show some stats from SofaScore. I've just got here, I've got up Szoboszlai, Curtis Jones, and McAllister. And honestly, like with the way we're playing at the moment, we've got McAllister at the sort of the front of this diamond, at the top of the diamond, sorry, and he has just gone missing. Like if you compare, like I guess it's different positions, but compare how Curtis Jones is playing, how Szoboszlai is playing, and you see that McAllister is just ghosting in these games. Like even if you look at the passes made and the accurate passes, like what he's doing compared to what Curtis Jones and what Szoboszlai are doing. I mean, the numbers are so low. It's really concerning what's happening at the moment with him in that sense.
It's been like that the whole season, I feel, with McAllister. Like, he's been very much a ghost. Like, he's a quality player. You can see the technical ability there. But
Yeah,
like you said, Szoboszlai has been our best midfielder and probably our best player this whole season. Jones has taken a step up. You know, like I was talking to a Liverpool friend as well, and we were sort of saying, like, Jones has a claim to a position over McAllister on form right now. Like, he's been holding the ball very well, passing more forward passes, and what you just showed with the stats, like that proves it. You know, that's sort of
maybe McAllister doesn't suit that position on the pitch.
Maybe.
But I don't know who we would play instead in that position, at least at the moment, anyway. But yeah, it's let's see if he's played the whole game, so I don't think he got subbed off. Let me see. Yeah, he played the whole game. But yeah, it's just concerning in that sense. Like, I feel like something needs to happen to sort of correct that position, or to move someone else into that position to be able to make it a bit more, to make us more solid in the middle of the park, because he's not being utilized in that way. I don't know if we maybe switch Wirtz into that central position at the top of the diamond, and then obviously with Gakpo or whatnot coming back at some point eventually, we then have him playing on the left. But the
initial plan is to get Wirtz there, isn't it? That was the plan, right? When we signed him.
Yeah.
Central attacking midfield. Yeah.
I saw some rumors that if with Isak's injury, we might be forced to try and sign Antoine Semenyo in the transfer window. But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my roundup of Tottenham Liverpool.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to mention actually earlier, with regards to why I was also kind of so thrilled with that win, was we had dropped to second in the league for the first time since October. So the psychological aspect of title race, Arsenal bossing it, like if we didn't win on Saturday, the guys were out for us. Like we really, really could have taken a big hit if we didn't get that win. And like I said, the fact we were so controlling just kind of brought us back into that armchair, if you like, and in control. We've got a big week coming up for us from an Arsenal perspective. So we've got the League Cup quarterfinal at your bogey side Palace. It got absolutely hammered, by the way, didn't they? 4-1 by Leeds. They've really gone off the boil.
Yeah, Dominic Calvert-Lewin with 2.
Yeah, I've always loved DCL from his time at Everton. Thought it was really, really unfortunate. Not Everton, sorry. Was it Everton? Where did he really shine at?
Yeah,
it was Everton. It was Everton with Ancelotti. So that season, he was a bit of a unsung hero for me from an FPL point of view. So just really, really pleased to see him kind of getting some form back again. He's got like 5 goals in the last 5 matches or something ridiculous. So yeah, really pleased for him. But yeah, it'll be really interesting tomorrow. There are a lot of question marks about who will start, about the fact that Iberi Eze didn't start at all, didn't get any minutes at all versus Everton. The fact that Noni Madueke hadn't got any minutes since the Bruges match. Interesting. I do have a theory in that I think Mikel is sort of punishing them for their role in the Villa defeat. So
I can see that for Eze, because obviously there was mistakes that he had made which sort of caused that to happen. But I feel like, I mean, at the end of the day, he's got to be ruthless and he's got to get the players to understand that he expects the best out of them. So I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case. And if you've basically got enough squad depth to be able to do that, then why not, really? You know?
It's interesting. Yeah,
complacency creep in.
Maybe it is. I think as well, like in backing of Eze, he's a look who it is. Hello.
Hi everybody. Hi, Dr. Nick. Carry on as you're saying, bro. Do you like my little message? Happy hairness. Carry on.
I forgot my point now. Eze. Yeah. Eze. So yeah, in fairness to him, he's a player who he's playing out of position. So where he kind of was at fault for the cash goal versus Villa, he doesn't normally play left wing. He normally plays as a left-sided 10. And I think the question marks about his defensive attributes were kind of always there, maybe in Mikel's mind. But I totally see and agreed with Mikel's subs. I think people were calling for him to come on. People have been calling for Ethan Waneri to come on. But it just made sense. Like Trossard was flagging. You want a more defensive left winger, Martinelli, to come on, and Marino for Ødegaard, who was tied in the 80th minute. So in terms of squad management, I think it's working quite well. I think tomorrow we'll see Madueke, we'll see Eze coming on. Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts for tomorrow's match. With regards to like the League Cup, whether we should be throwing it or not, I feel like, and it kind of goes back to Arne Slot's comments as well from a few weeks ago. So it's just to reiterate for the ones who weren't sure about Slot's comments, Slot said essentially he's happy that he's out of the League Cup because they don't have the players or squads for it, essentially. Tayyam, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. If I misquoted him.
That is not a direct quote, but it is essentially what he's saying. Especially with all the injuries that we have, it's kind of useful not to be in it, which is kind of blasphemous to say about an English top flight competition. But it is. I mean, it's true. Like, I mean, what about the days when Wenger would play all the kids, in the League Cup? Like, it's just one of those things, right? So I wouldn't look too deep into it, especially with the season that we're having. I'd take any time that we have to try and figure out how to make this team work. So yeah.
Plenty of managers, I feel like they've spoken negatively about the Carabao Cup. Pep multiple seasons has said things like degrading the competition. I think there was something where he said he was glad to be out. I'll try and find the exact quote, but yeah, there's plenty of managers over the years that have really sort of degraded the competition itself. But that's not to say I agree with him, and I don't know if I agree with Slot or not. I get where he's coming from, like Zahid said about where we are, and how much maybe like how rest could be a big factor, and how maybe focusing on 2 or 3 things rather than 4 things is a better idea. But of course, going for a trophy is always a good thing, and winning a trophy builds momentum. So I don't think we should we should be outright saying that we should be glad to be out. I think that's where we had that debate, right? Where you know, you were saying it sounds like he's basically saying he's glad to be out the Carabao Cup. But you know, I was getting a bit picky about the words that you were using versus what he was using, and in the same vein as how you've defended Arteta in the past as well. Like things get taken out of context, whether it's a word or whether it's a change of a sentence, and that's what we were sort of going back and forth over, really. Yeah, but no, I get it. I think the whole idea of placing importance on certain competitions over others, I do get it. I do understand it from Slot's point of view. So yeah, there's that.
I actually agree with Slot. I agree with his premise. Obviously you guys lost against Plymouth Argyle, I believe, last season in the FA Cup. And he rotated heavily for it, but I think the fact that he rotated for that protected your Premier League. So it made sense from that perspective. I think where maybe he might have got it slightly wrong with that Palace match was you were in a real rut at that moment, and I felt like any sort of win might have just kind of snapped you out of it. So that was my kind of feeling at the time. Like generally, like I'm like Zahid said, like we grew up on Arsene Wenger, like play the kids, like let the kids have that competition. And that's kind of where I'm at with it for tomorrow, to be fair. But like we don't really need a semi-final against Chelsea in January. But I think where Arteta is in terms of the bit of the witch hunt, really, that's out there for Mikel. He kind of needs to get that trophy monkey off his back, even if it is the League Cup at this stage. I'm not going to be heartbroken if we go out tomorrow. I'm going to the game. Bigger fish to fry and all of that. But Mikel needs a trophy and does need it soon, in my opinion, just to kind of relieve that pressure. And I think we referenced it before, like winning breeds winning at the end of the day. Pep would always prioritize the League Cup in terms of making sure he goes far in it. And I think he's the manager who's won it the most. Jose Mourinho under Chelsea previously as well had kind of regularly got League Cup and Premier League doubles. So yeah, by all means, like if we have the squad for it and if we can go far, if we can win this competition, I'm all for it.
I think it can set the tone for the season, and if you can win a cup, you can win in Wembley earlier on in the season, then it can give the players that belief that they can go on and do that in other competitions. And I think that was probably the mindset of Pep and Mourinho. And obviously, if you don't win it, then it's like, what does it matter? It's League Cup. So
for sure.
It's not as other rival fans might take the piss, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not the worst thing in the world to lose a League Cup final.
Okay. The 328 has put a couple of comments in. I think we'll come back to the Arsenal section afterwards, but we're discussing Liverpool just before that. What's the one thing Liverpool must improve on in the second half of the season? So, either yourself, Tamim, or Zahid.
I think having a consistent starting 11, knowing what our identity is, shape is, because that's been a bit lost since the start of the season. Trying to fit in the new players, when to fit them in, how to fit them in, and setting the foundations for the chemistry on the right side of the pitch, the central midfield, when to press, when the attackers need to press. Our defense needs a big improvement, because although it seems like we've turned a corner, like Zahid said in the Spurs game, it was very dodgy at the back, and we're pretty lucky that we didn't concede more than one goal, and that was to a 10-man and eventually a 9-man Spurs. It was the same thing that Newcastle did, when they were down a man or two. They literally just spammed the box with long balls and crosses because they knew we were weak there, and it didn't seem like there was any improvement at all against Spurs. So our defense needs to improve, and I think we need to improve our frontline pressing as well. Like the amount of space we were giving the Spurs defenders, and I was watching the game with my brother, and he was even saying himself, like, watching Klopp's team versus what we were doing. Like, he couldn't believe the amount of sort of space the Spurs defenders and midfielders had. Like, none of our attackers were better, like pressing at all. It was, it was a complete 180 on the style of play. And I feel like I missed that from our team. I think that's part of our identity. The sort of relentless pressing, trying to gain attacks and chances through those pressing chances. So I think our pressing needs to improve and defending mainly. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it was just asked. The question was one thing. You mentioned everything. But,
I forgot you said one. My bad.
But yeah, I think defensive solidity is really important. I think having that. I mean, we've had it in seasons gone by. Just having that know-how of how to kill off a game, of how to run down the clock. All that sort of stuff, like, the stuff of champions, winning ugly, that sort of stuff. We did it last season. I don't know why we've lost that, but I think, like you said, slots, chopping and changing, trying to find different starting 11s, different patterns of play, different players and partnerships to create. So I think the players sort of don't know necessarily what to do. And I think as well, because he's so worried about conceding that early goal, that's why we sat back for so long against Spurs at the beginning of the game. And I guess because he's so worried about us conceding the first goal and then sort of crumbling after that, that's why he's reverting to such drastic tactics. Maybe it's just an interim thing that he's going to do to try and gain some confidence back in the team defensively. So then if that does happen in future games during the season, we know that we can go and score and win games. If we know we can score, then maybe it's not so bad maybe we won't have to then be so compact at the back, basically.
Yeah, it's interesting. You touched on the element of transition in terms of the amount of players that Slot has had to kind of integrate into the squad and into the team. And I feel like Arsenal have kind of suffered from that. Like, it's all good and well having Madueke, Saka, Eza, Trossard, like all these nice new toys to play with. But if the balance isn't there, it's gonna come to bite you in some ways. Like, there needs to be chemistry with players, and we've had multiple number of front lines, multiple number of combinations in midfield, multiple combinations in defense as well. Now with defensive injuries, so yeah, it's an issue for all teams. And the one thing that Man City have had in the last 5-6 matches is the same backline has played together. So they've had that defensive solidity to kind of stabilize themselves, which is kind of in the platform for them to go on and win those matches. Which, by the way, I have to say, I watched Match of the Day. Jared Bowen had a good couple of chances to at least make it 2-1, a bit hairy for Man City, and obviously he couldn't convert. So they are still giving away chances. We spoke about XG in the last match with Palace versus Man City. But yeah, let's come to some 228's questions. Are Arsenal already bottling it? I'll let the haters answer this first. So Dog is killing himself laughing. I won't go to him just yet. Tamim, are Arsenal already bottling it?
I'd say no. Every team, every top team, every title-winning team, there's always a rough patch in the season. And a lot of that is to do with fitness, players, or sometimes just a little dip in the form. It happens. no team is going to win every single game, and no team is going to be at their fittest, at their 100%. Like, what we saw against Wolves, like that was very different to what we saw with you guys against Everton. You looked much sharper. Like I said, that week rest did you guys some good, probably. Fatigue happens. At your best, I would expect you guys to blow away Wolves like 5-0, but you clearly weren't at your best. It's impossible to maintain top standards every single game throughout the whole season. I'm sure, I don't know what injury list looks like, but I'm sure you might have had a few injuries, and as a result, you might have overplayed certain players, and they might have not been at their best against Wolves. Things happen. So, no, I don't count this. It's early days. I like to use the quote "early days," right, Danielle? So, I'm saying to you guys, it's early days.
Yeah, we have plenty of injuries. Gabriel's still out injured. Ben White picked up a hamstring last week.
But that's on Arteta, isn't it?
Yeah, we did speak about that. Yeah, we did speak about about him being overplayed. Yeah, but the point being is that the defensive injuries have a bit of a result of people being overpaid, and those players being having to be play overpaid because there's no cover for them. Like tomorrow, there's a strong possibility we're playing 16-year-old Marley Salmon at either right back or centre half because Timber needs a rest, and Saliba, it was risky to play him at Wolves apparently. So whether he's fully fit or not is another question mark. We might not see him play tomorrow in the League Cup. So yeah, those injuries are kind of concentrated in one particular area. So yeah.
What happened to Max Dowman? Where's he gone?
So in the match, in the behind doors match with Man United, the Arsenal beat Man United 3-0. Funny enough, this was organised because Man United don't have any European competition, so they wanted to keep certain players fresh. So in that game, someone raked him down and he damaged some ankle ligaments, unfortunately for him. Which was a really, really weird sliding doors moment because this match was organised partly for Gabriel Jesus to kind of get some minutes. And because he injured his ankle ligaments, it meant that Jesus took his place in the Champions League squad. So it was a bit of a revolving doors moment there for Gabby Jesus. But yeah, again, wish Max Diamond all the best in his recovery. Still only in year 11. And we're talking about him as if he's been in the game for 5 years already. But yeah, crazy. Dog or Arsenal already bottling it?
I love.
You definitely bottled it, mate.
The microphone is like an Arab, bro. We're bottling it. I love it.
That's an omen for the future of the season. Someone put that up, please.
That's going on TikTok, by the way. I'll definitely set up the account now. Are Arsenal already bottling it? I'm going to say no, just because I feel like they're still kind of taking away points in situations where any other team would have bottled it, like United or even a Liverpool, and just based on current season form. I don't know. I'm not sure about City, even though they haven't hit their peak. They're still 2 points behind you guys, and I'm wondering, are they still meant to hit a peak, or is this like the best we'll get of them so far? I think psychologically we'll be playing a lot more on Arsenal's minds. Going into Christmas, I think 2 points isn't that much. It's quite marginal. I think Villa will probably drop off as well. So I don't know. I'm keen to see what happens. I don't think they're bottling it just yet. But if it's still 2 points come the end of January, February, then I think they might start panicking. So yeah, I think still in Arsenal's hands, funny enough. Liverpool's kind of hit and miss. City, you don't really know where they're at. Villa's probably going to drop off. So yeah, very much Arsenal's league to lose right now. I love it. You're more focused on fixing your microphone. That's why I don't buy stuff from Timu, man.
Speaking about City, I was just thinking about the comparisons between Jack Grealish and Ryan Cherky. Like they're both sort of maverick players. They both got egos, especially like when you heard about Cherky coming to City, you heard about what he was like in France and his personality and blah 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 blah, and his weight was also mentioned as well. And you see him integrating into this Guardiola side, and I don't know what the difference is between him and Grealish. Is it mentality? Is it ego? Is it, I mean, what is it that differentiated one from being ostracized from the squad, and him? I guess obviously Grealish had his season. They had he was there for the treble, was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
So obviously he won what he won, and Cherky's only in his first season. But I'm just thinking about the struggles that Grealish had compared to how Cherky is getting on. And obviously, it's come out in the news as well that Guardiola is planning on weighing the players when they come back to training. They're going to have like 3 days off, and he's going to weigh them. He weighed them before the West Ham game, and he's going to weigh them again when they come back off on the 27th, I think. And he's told them they can't eat pizza, they can't have fizzy drinks, and this and that.
That explains why I've never became a footballer, by the way. But yeah, carry on.
I just thought that was quite interesting. I think City are like flying under the radar at the moment, and they're just picking up wins. I think they're playing well. I think we're more focused on Arsenal and how Arsenal are doing. But also, as a complete aside, I was just thinking, is it better? Like, obviously, because we were talking about last week about how City were going to play first, and they'll go first if they win. I think the next few game weeks, Arsenal. I think the next 3 game weeks, Arsenal play first. Let me just double check. I've got it here somewhere.
So Man City have Forest and 12:30 on Saturday. So Man City play first next week. Before
here we go. Yeah, so next week they play first, then match week 19 and 20 Arsenal play first, and then match week 21, 22 and 23 City play first. So it's chopping and changing, but obviously if that difference stays the same and both of you keep winning, then obviously you're going to keep swapping positions as the game weeks go on. So that'll be interesting to see if that has an effect on the mentality of the players. And if you'd prefer to be the side that are top, looking down at the league, or if you're the side chasing, looking up. I wonder where the mentality is in terms of who's more likely to bottle it. Do you know? Are you looking behind your back and worrying about the people coming up behind you, or are you stressed out about constantly chasing and the team constantly winning, sort of thing? Because I'm just thinking back at that season, the 22-23 season. I've got the little graphic here. Like pretty much City, I think it was game week 2, City were first. And then every single game week after that, up until probably 32, game week 32, Arsenal were leading the Premier League table. And then it swapped and then it just stayed that way. So yeah, I wonder what effect that may have and how that might play out as the season goes on. As long as obviously City maintain their run and keep going as they are.
But I see City slipping up more than Arsenal. Sorry to interrupt. I don't know why. I just feel like Arsenal, in situations this season where you would have expected them to lose, like against Wolves, an example, they've still stood up, and I feel like these small wins are going to help. City, for some reason, something's lacking. I can't put my finger on it, but they don't look as clinical as they were the past couple of years. I think Arsenal knows that as well. I feel like Arsenal will probably be better off being second and overtaking City than being first, knowing City's on their tail, because then that's when the Arsenal way comes in, when they start to like kind of psychologically think, oh my God, we can't cope, oh, it's happening, oh, we lose games here and there. I'm sure Daniel agrees. Daniel knows exactly what I mean, right? Those 3 games where you draw them, when you should have won, you know? I think that's in the back of your mind.
Well, are you talking about 2023 or recently?
Yeah.
So that season, funny enough, I posted a John Cena quote.
Who?
On our chat. the greatest of all time, Mr. John Cena. I just want to read this quote out to you because I think it kind of has relevance to our discussion right now. So, luck is a factor quite oftenly heavily overlooked. Even in cases of extreme effort, many times luck plays a large role. The longer you're involved, the more you prepare, while leaning into keeping a curious open mind could greatly increase the maths that luck might show up. So in that season that you're referencing, Arsenal got 84 points, but finished second, no title. The following season, Arsenal got 89 points, finished second, no title. Liverpool last season win the title with 84 points. Now, again, we had a number of injuries during the run-in that contributed to us having to play Rob Holding, who I think currently is playing in the MLS and didn't get a single minute when he left Arsenal at Crystal Palace, and did go to the championship. So it just shows the level of players that dropped off once you have a really, really bad injury. We were on something like a 94-point pace before those injuries happened, and when Holding came in, it was like a 46-point pace. So it affected us massively, and in all honesty, we weren't psychologically ready to win the league. Like, this was the team the previous season that had finished fifth. If you'd asked all Arsenal fans at the beginning of that season in particular, you know, if finished second, finished in the Champions League, we probably would have bit your hands off at that moment in time. Obviously, now the expectations have changed, especially after that 89-point season. Whereby, you know, you kind of expected Arsenal to go and win it. If it wasn't for Chris Wood missing an absolute sitter, or Hyun-Min Son, in my opinion, still deliberately missing, so that Arsenal didn't win the league, then, you know, Mikel Arteta could already have a league title under his belt already, and this kind of conversation would be moot.
Sorry. I can tell I'm a proper pain in your backside every time I mention it. Every time I pop up, you're like, oh, here we go again. Oh, no. Psychologically already. What kind of nonsense is that, man?
So Sam also asks, if Arsenal don't win the league, is it curtains for him? So I mentioned this last season as well, with regards to, it depends on how you don't win the league. It depends on how you lose. You know, if you think back to those Liverpool Man City title races where Liverpool got 92 points but still didn't win the league, it's like, is that a sackable offense to get 92 points and not win the league? Like it's crazy. You know, like if Arteta gets 89 points and City happens to, like, Pep and City happen to beat him to the league by 1 point, like, I'm not gonna be like saying here, oh, you know, Arteta needs to go. He hasn't won the league. He's got all the tools at his disposal. Like that's an excellent season, but by all kinds of measures. Like, and similarly, it also depends on what we do in other competitions. Like, you know, if we happen to win the League Cup, if we happen to win the FA Cup, if by some miracle we happen to win ever first Champions League, then of course not. It's not going to try if we don't win the league. But yeah, that's my take on that.
I guess I wanted to ask you on that topic, Daniel. So, you know, you're talking about the Arteta needs a trophy now to ease some pressure and get some, you know, momentum going. Would a domestic trophy be enough, do you think, for Arteta and Arsenal? I personally don't think it is. I think it has to be one of the Premier League or the Champions League, because of the years you've spent building up, and not just the years, but like with how close you've been to the Premier League title and how good your team is. Objectively speaking, your team is very good and has been very good for like the last 3 years or so. So I think it's got to be one of those big two, in my opinion. But I don't know what you think. If a domestic one is enough, what do you think?
I think if it's just an FA Cup, if it's just a League Cup by themselves, then no. If it's a domestic cup double, and we happen to finish second, or like got to semis in the Champions League, got to the final of the Champions League, then you could kind of make an argument. Well, that's still a really good outcome, really good season. Like we've got some silver under our belt now. That's eluded us for 6 years. But yeah, again, in my opinion, he does need one of the two big ones, either the Champions League or the league. But yeah, I don't think it's curtains. In my opinion, I think Arteta will leave when he feels it's the time to leave, very similar to how Klopp left Liverpool. There was an article from James McNicholas in The Athletic on Friday that spoke about how Arteta sees his tenure at Arsenal, and this was the 6th anniversary of him joining the club now. Like he's never viewed himself to be this legacy manager that like Arsene Wenger or Sir Alex. Even Pep moved around. He was at Barcelona for 3 years. He was at Bayern for 3 years. It's only really at City where he kind of had everything at his disposal that he didn't really feel the need to leave. And I think once Arteta wins those trophies, the league and UCL, I do think he'll leave Arsenal. He's got affinities to other clubs. Like he's got affinities to PSG. Obviously, he grew up in the Barcelona academy. And if Barcelona comes calling, who will begrudge him for leaving Arsenal after winning?
I'd like to think he's. Sorry to interrupt, but I'd like to think he's a bit like Simeone, where Simeone's never won the UCL, but he's still kind of like celebrated because he won the La Liga against those two really good Madrid and Barcelona sides, and so Simeone's kind of built that legacy at Atletico, where it's gone from being a 2-team league to now real contenders. But I think, like what Tamim said, the quality of players you guys have, my kind of concern is that if he doesn't win, the players will start to kind of itch and think we should go somewhere where we can win. Because I suppose the whole Harry Kane situation where you're at a club, you're loyal, and then you don't win anything, and then suddenly when you do leave, you win everything. I can imagine that happening with a couple of Arsenal players, especially Martinelli for some reason. Saka will probably be emotionally blackmailed and stay here, you're North London and all that. Give me a break, man.
Well, Martinelli, I think some Arsenal fans would be happy to get rid of him.
See, look at the tides have changed all of a sudden, yeah.
No. I really like Martinelli. Like
he's a good player, man. But he's.
I call him Champions League Nelly because just play Champions League music for him, and he's a quality player, man. He's quality.
Martinelli and I have the same number of Champions Leagues, but carry on.
He doesn't get that same space in the Prem. So just to go back on your point about players will want to leave. So Rice had an interview where he spoke about Arteta, and actually there's a question from B here. Is Declan Rice the most important Arsenal signing Arteta era so far? So we'll come to that in a second, B. But he basically said, don't judge Arteta now. Judge him when he wins everything, because he will win everything. Like there was an absolute determination from Declan Rice in that Arteta is going to clean up. Similarly, William Saliba has just signed a new deal. Gabriel has just signed a new deal. It's rumored that Saka will sign a new deal at some point as well. Timber as well. Did I mention Timber? It's getting late. So all of these players are bought into Mikel's philosophy. So I don't see them mentally checking out just yet. Whereas with Wenger, and during that kind of Ivan Gazidis era where RVP left, Cesc Fabregas left, Nasri left, because I kind of know what you're referring to. There was that kind of thing like this team isn't going to compete because we were just finishing second, third, and fourth all the time. Hence why those players were getting the itch. And the club weren't buying players to compete at the other end of the table, whereas they kind of showed their ambition this time. They went out and spent £70 million to get Eze. They went out and spent £59 million to get Gyökeres. So they're showing to the squad and showing to the players that they mean business this time. So it's a very, very different era to those Cesc and RVP days, in my opinion. Again, I'll let the panel answer this question, and then I'll give my thoughts on this. Is Declan Rice the most important Arsenal signing of the Arteta era so far? But by the way, guys, if I haven't asked this just yet because I'm really rubbish at this, but if you're in the chat still at this late time at almost half past midnight, thank you. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Thank you for joining in the show. Tamim and Zahid, I'll go to you first. Is Declan Rice the most important Arsenal signing of the Arteta era so far?
It's a tough question. I don't know. I don't think there's one important signing, to be honest with you. Well, one most important signing anyway. He's up there, 100%. You know, you'd have to say top 3 signing, definitely, for sure. Like what he's done to your midfield, the level of control you guys have in most of the games, because of how he just sweeps up, wins duels, etc., is very important. So, yeah, you know, there's a case to be made for that. I guess my answer to that would be at the end of the season, I think, or at the end of his era. Yeah, it's so hard to tell. There's so many pieces of the jigsaw, right? You need the midfield, you need the defense, you need the attack sorted. For it to be a successful era, you need, you know, all those pieces. It's not just one player, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's a tough one to answer.
I would probably say that he is. I think the way that he carries himself, the way he plays in the game, the intensity he shows, he kind of has that Henderson role where he gets everyone together. He really marshals the team. He has the ethos.
Gerrard even.
Sorry?
Even.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah. If you want to go there, I wouldn't go there yet, but yeah. So yeah, I think he really embodies what Arteta wants in the team, and I think he is really pivotal. There's, you know, you don't have a replacement for him. Like, I mean, you bought Norgard, but you play him as centre back instead. So like, there is no one else that can do what he does in your team. And he links up the play between defense and the attack really well. And obviously Rooney's come out this week and saying he is future England captain. So that's not a small thing to say, you know. So, and that's obviously off the back of his recent performances. So yeah, no, I think he is pivotal to this Arsenal team.
Dag, any thoughts on Declan Rice?
I'm just looking at all the signings Arteta's made. So you've got Gabriel, Partey, Odegaard, Ramsdale, White, Tomiyasu, Jesus, Zinchenko, Vieira, Turner, Marquinhos, Trossard, Jorginho, Kiwior, Havertz, Timber, Raya. Stands out for me, Rice. I think he's like the midfield general. He's kind of doing the Vieira role. And I think the fact that he came straight off the bat of winning European title with West Ham, I think that kind of, you know, brought that kind of nice infectious personality. So yeah. It'd be nice if he wins something. I think he's too good a player to not win something with Arsenal.
He brought that trophy-winning mentality to Arsenal.
That trophy-winning mentality. That's what he did. He brought that East London vigor, you know, that pride and passion. He took it to North London where it was lacking. Yeah, I said it.
It's really interesting, right? Because I think he's transformed our team definitely, and there's no one else like him, possibly in world football. In terms of his box-to-box role, I know Chelsea fans will be like, "Oh, Caicedo this, Caicedo that," but I don't see Caicedo whipping it in top bins against Real Madrid. You know what I'm saying? Like the amount of assists he gets from corner kicks, the amount of whip. It's David Beckham like. He's just a fantastic overall footballer. When we first signed him, he reminded me of Yaya Toure, just in terms of like his ability to kind of get up into the box, his box-to-box presence. The one signing who I think might rival him is Gabriel. So Gabriel was signed in COVID during 2020, and he was a bit rough around the edges. Like he was a young player, like coming from France, 22, 23. He had to rely on David Luiz, funny enough, to kind of give him a bit of guidance to settle him down. And yeah, there were some question marks over him, just in terms of like his positional play, his temperament. But he's just become the absolute soul and heartbeat of our defense. He's another leader who has just grown immensely over the last couple of seasons. When Saliba first came into the side, Saliba was kind of getting the plaudits. Everyone was like, Saliba, Rolls Royce of a defender, which I agree with. And Gabriel's role in that was kind of being underplayed. And I think now, Gabriel being the older player and being, 27 years old now, but being in his peak of his career, the same age that Van Dijk joined Liverpool, by the way. I think we're really seeing the best of him now. And it took him those 5 years to get to this position. So if there's anyone who could be more important than Declan Rice, it will be Gabriel, just in terms of longevity of how long he's been at Arsenal since 2020, in my opinion. Okay. We haven't discussed Man United versus Aston Villa. So obviously we just have Dag here. I did watch the game. Did you guys watch the match? Did all of you watch the match?
I walked into the room and Morgan Rogers curled it in. I then left the room, and then when I walked back in again, he's curling it in from the right.
All right, okay.
What the hell? But there's big questions about this game, to be honest, both about...
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many questions, obviously, but yeah, we can get into it.
For sure. So I watched the match from the beginning. Man United started really, really well. They had Villa on the ropes. And I did watch your clip from Pythagoras and Boots, Zahid, about how Unai designs his teams, particularly in this fashion, to catch teams on the counter-attack and to maximize on opportunities. And this is literally how it played out in that first half. United were all over Villa. Martinez kind of made some important saves before the Morgan Rogers shot that went in into the box, and then almost immediately after that, Cunha scores, which I thought was kind of what Man United needed. Mm-hmm. I felt from a United perspective, as soon as Bruno Fernandes tweaked his hamstring, I feared for United, and I feared my prediction that United would beat them, because Bruno Fernandes is the heart and soul, in my opinion, of Man United. He's a captain. He's a leader of that side. He's a technical leader. And without Brian Mbeumo and Amad Diallo as well, in terms of having that quality, that real quality to finish chances, I think that kind of showed, especially in the second half. Interesting enough, Man United was still creating chances, even without Fernandes on the pitch, which I think kind of shows that Amram's system was working. He had Martinez as a kind of DM. He took off Fernandes for him. Had Xerxes come on at some point as well. And United looked confident, but they just never looked like they'd get that equaliser after Rogers scored. Dag, what are your thoughts on the performance, on the game? Yeah. Unai.
Different week, same shite with United. Too much reactionary football. They have good moments where you feel like, okay, United are back, get the contract out, and then like, oh yeah, back to being United. I don't feel as bad that they lost to Villa, because Villa's been exceptional. Last 6 games they've won, so yeah, but it's just the same old kind of formula where United
10 games in a row. 10 games in a row.
They've done very well.
Really, really impressive.
I like Villa. I'm keen to see how they do after Christmas though, but yeah, with United it's just the same old crap. Seeing that they scored very quickly and then all of a sudden going behind, it's like, oh, here we go again. Yeah, nothing to say. I don't know why I'm wearing the shirt. I'm just cold right now.
Again, you played well. And I think Morgan Rogers is absolute demon in the box. He did miss a chance of 0.78 XG, right outside to really get his hat trick. But hey, I think there's a quote from XG Philosophy, whether it's a true quote from Unai Emery or not, but he said XG is bollocks. So whether that's a true quote or not, I have no idea. But XG Philosophy did post it himself. An account I often go to kind of get a feel for games.
Don't worry, Daniel. Arsenal will win the inaugural XG Trophy of the year if it makes you feel better, yeah? You could put that near your tiny little Invincible trophy as well.
Tiny. It's gold, mate. It's gold.
Toes for Russia, bro.
So from my perspective about Aston Villa, I think they're such a narrow team. They purely play on the break. They have to be clinical in the way that they play. And Morgan Rogers is clinical, but what happens if he gets injured? Like, what happens if he's out? Like, they depend on him so important. Like, he's so important to their play. They're going to have to. I mean, like last season, they tried to sign. What's his name? They signed obviously Rashford on loan, I think, in the January transfer window, and then they also signed Asensio. I mean, neither of those really worked out, but I mean, they're going to have to try and sign someone as a Morgan Rogers potential backup. I don't know who they've got in the squad that could potentially play in his place. Obviously, Ollie Watkins is really on form, huh?
Harvey Elliott, man, might finally get to see him.
Good point.
I doubt we will.
I don't know what's happened to him though. Like he's just not.
Just hadn't been able to break into the side, right? Like when you have a team that's playing well. I mean, the thing is, at the beginning of the season, Villa couldn't buy a win. They were 5 games without a win. And I honestly thought it was curtains for him. I thought the rot would probably continue for him. But yeah, he's turned it around. I'll give credit where credit's due.
But I feel like, I mean, eventually the luck is going to have to run out. Like they can only be, I guess, I mean, it's working for him right now. So why change something that's working, you know? But I think he's got a plan ahead. But I mean,
what will be interesting, Zahid, is 2 weeks' time, a potential 6-pointer where they come to the Emirates. So it's Arsenal versus Aston Villa, very big game. That would be really, really interesting. Like, it's way too early to kind of make any predictions for that match, but especially because Gabriel could be back by then as well as my favorite player, Kai Havertz. So yeah.
But I think as good as Morgan Rogers, as clinical as he was, I mean, I couldn't believe that Lenny Yoro was giving him that space to cut in. I mean, you know what he's going to do. You know he's going to cut in on his right foot. So why would you afford him all of that space and time to do that? I mean, the first goal was beautiful, but the second goal was still pretty much just cut in from the left and take a shot. So I didn't understand the United defending in that situation. It was very silly. But I mean, the next question is, can United cope without Fernandes? I mean, who plays in his position? It was interesting. I was reading on the BBC actually about how Kobe Minu is his direct replacement, but is Amram going to play him? Considering his half brother or something wore the shirt to free Kobe Manu, but also apparently Amram's brother did the same thing when he was playing, so you can't really use it against him, which is
funny. Oh, I had no idea. Actually, it's a good point.
Yeah, I was just reading this on the BBC.
Interesting, very interesting. Maybe that's why he did it, knowing full well that that's what Amram's own brother did as well. So
I think it's just, I don't know, like I would be so frustrated. I mean, I guess if I was a United fan and I was looking at everything that's happened in the past few seasons, I mean, I would, any sort of form or any sort of uplift in, the spirit of the club, I would take it. But I just look at Amorim and I just look at the way he's so inflexible with his formations, with the way that he plays. And he's happy to let the opposing team have the possession and, the way that they like to play it. And then the thing that I can't get over is like, he can't watch a penalty shootout, man. Like, how can your manager big man, grown up, turning away from the pitch, can't watch a penalty shootout. That's an embarrassment. Club like United as well. Honestly, like I wouldn't be able to get over that. It's just so stupid. Honestly, I understand like superstition and everything, but it's just too much, man.
I mean, Klopp often looked away when Salah had penalties. I remember a couple that 22-23 season when Salah missed a penalty in that 2-2 draw. Klopp raised his hand, thinking he's thinking that Salah scored. So it's nerves, it's anxiety. So like you're calling out Amrin, but I know that managers do it, man.
I can understand that, but I mean the whole penalty shootout, just turning away.
Sure.
That's
For
just
sure,
come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Against Grimsby, for sure. Yeah, I take the point.
The guy didn't want to become a meme. That's what it is, isn't it? They're like, all right, cool.
But yeah, no. I mean, Villa doing well. They're winning games. They're riding the wave. Basically, they're taking the momentum. They're taking as far as they can.
I mean, Arteta spoke very frankly about them, saying, "Well, look where they are. They're definitely in this title race. Who have Aston Villa got next? Actually, just to kind of have a look at the fixtures. So they've got Chelsea away on the 5:30 kickoff on that match on Saturday. So that's a real tough game for them, I think. Chelsea obviously coming back at St James Park to draw 2-2.
That was a crazy game as well.
Yeah. I watched the highlights of matches today. I didn't see it live. But yeah.
I mean, the craziest thing that I realized is that Voltemade is almost as tall as Peter Crouch.
Yeah, and he's huge.
I can't believe how big he is. And like you look at Crouch and he's just so gangly. And then you look at Voltemade, he just looks like a normal person, but just a huge version of a normal person.
I think Voltemade's got a bit more body weight than Crouch had. So Crouch just kind of really looked lanky. Yeah. But you know, speaking of that, like, I was watching Haaland score his goals. Like he is that big man up top. So yeah, like having that frame, having that size, it does have an advantage to kind of bully defenders. And speaking of strikers, I think that the one aspect that Gyökeres has kind of struggled with, like coming up from the Portuguese league, is he bullied the defenders in Portugal, whereas he hasn't had that same joy in the Premiership just yet. And I think if anyone needs an adaptation period, he does. So
I think, I mean, we're speaking about Haaland. I mean, he's such a complete striker. He's got everything, really. Like, you see him in a 1v1, you know he's just going to outpace the defender. And he's so clinical. It's just scary playing against him.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping. What was the Fulham Nottingham Forest score? It was 1-0.
1-0.
Fulham 1-0. Yeah. Okay. Again, Deitch at the City Ground, just hoping they can maybe get a draw or something. Let's see. Let's do some quick predictions. It is literally 10-1. Are you guys working tomorrow, by the way?
Yeah.
I am. Yeah.
I am now. No, that is 10-1.
Yeah, I'm working tomorrow as well.
You just want us to stay awake for Fudger, isn't it? I know what you're doing, bro.
The Hudget, man, the Hudget.
Yeah, the Hudget. We're gonna start praying on stream it. So yeah, let's do some predictions and then we can get some rest before everyone else is clocked out as well. So if you're still watching at 10-1, and again, thank you. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Okay, predictions. Who Liverpool got this weekend? Let's go. Liverpool.
We have Wolves.
Okay.
3 o'clock kickoff.
All right. I predict a 3-0 win for Liverpool. Dog?
I'm going to say 2-0.
Okay. Liverpool boys?
Go on, you go first, Simon.
I'll go 2-0 to Liverpool.
I think it'll be 2-1. I'm not optimistic about us keeping a clean sheet. I'd love for us to. I was so pissed off when Richarlison scored, man. Honestly.
Nah, man. Wolves can't even buy a goal, man. They had a penalty saved and
Scored 3 against you.
scored 3 against. Well, no, scored.
Well, they scored all 3, I should say.
Scored all 3 goals. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a penalty in the 90th minute, and Kelleher. Thank you very much, Liverpool. But I put him in my fantasy team and got me a nice 13-pointer for my FPL. So that was very nice. Who have United got?
United are playing Newcastle at 8 o'clock.
Wow.
United at home.
Interesting. I predict 2-2 draw.
Yeah, I'll go the same.
Dog.
I'm predicting a
I'll go 1-1
3-1 win to Newcastle.
You always bet against United.
Yeah,
every
I know, man.
single stream.
Aim low and be pleasantly surprised, as opposed to aiming high and then being depressed all the time.
Fair. Time.
I'd go 1-1.
Okay. Arsenal, Brighton. If you want to have your predictions for tomorrow's match, feel free. But Arsenal, Brighton, Saturday.
I think you're going to win 2-0 at least.
Dog. He always bets against Arsenal as well, I've noticed.
No, I don't. I'm always backing Arsenal. What are you on about?
Nah, last week you're like, I think Everton will win 1-0. And then Spurs, 2-1 either way. It's like, okay. Have you watched Spurs? Yeah. Go on.
3-1.
Okay.
Arsenal.
Okay.
Happy?
Okay.
Happy?
Okay, fine. Time.
He's asleep. He's like, he's frozen.
Oh, sorry, mate. I think my internet is. I think Kalpesh is using my internet again.
He's like,
Is it my turn for a prediction?
Arsenal, Brighton.
Who's home?
Arsenal.
3-0 Arsenal.
Yeah, I think if Gabriel's back, then we're definitely keeping a clean sheet. I will go for 2-0. Any predictions for tomorrow's match against Palace? It's like anyone's ball game. I have no idea what side Palace will put out. I have a rough idea what Arsenal might put out, but yeah.
I think it'll be a good midweek game. Yeah, I think maybe it'll be like a 3-2 or something like that.
Or either way, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dog.
Arsenal Palace tomorrow, yeah?
Yeah, League Cup.
Oh, League Cup. I'm going to say Arsenal will lose tomorrow 1-0. Inshallah. Happy?
There you go. He got his Arsenal loss prediction in.
I got to use my inshallah appropriately, man. I can't just be throwing that every week, innit? Because then it's like, wait a minute, law of averages.
I'm in.
I feel like you're going to put a pretty weak team out. So I'll go 2-1 Palace. I think it depends on what type of ball is used. I'm not sure if Arteta will be happy with it. But yeah, I'll say 2-1. 2-1 Palace, yeah.
It's the same balls now in the Premier League as the EFL, Puma balls. So.
Okay. Give you guys a shot then. I'll give you guys a shot.
If he goes out though, I'm sure he wouldn't say I'm glad we're out of the League Cup. So.
But Arsenal aren't allowed to be that arrogant about that. I mean, they should be collecting all these trophies like Pokemon, shouldn't they? Right? I mean, I should have said this earlier. I don't want to say anything else because it's 7 minutes to 1 now. Yeah, but Arsenal should be savouring every competition and collecting these trophies, you know, as opposed to it's beneath us. Nah, bro, don't give me that nonsense. When you support a team like this, then you're in a position to say it's beneath you. I just fondled myself. If you're in a position to say whether or not, You man's haven't won anything. Yeah, relax yourself. Don't give me all this nonsense. I've been very patient about this whole chat here, and now I'm getting really riled up because it's 7 minutes to 1. Sorry, but yeah, good luck, Arsenal.
You can fondle yourself off camera. Don't worry. I just wanted to make one last plea for the next time we talk, that I'll actually have something good to say about AFCON, because the 2 games I've watched have been atrocious.
I totally forgot to show B's comment. I'm sure B's probably asleep now.
Oh my God.
Salah, 90th minute dagger in AFCON.
Against the World Cup winning Zimbabwe, yeah. Come on, allow it, innit, man?
I don't know if it's the fact that, his first game for the teams, they're like still trying to figure out how they're going to play and how the team's going to play together. But I fell asleep watching the first game, Morocco game. It was just so bad. And this Egypt game was just similar. Just balls being sprayed about all in the wrong direction. Nothing really happening. Just, I just hope the quality of the football gets better as the tournament goes on.
All right, guys. It is 5-1. Tamim is falling asleep as we speak. If you're still with us, much love to you, much respect to you. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and we'll see you after the next round of Premier League fixtures. Thank you, and good night.